Good morning, Xbox Nation. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I'm one of your hosts, MrBooMStickXL, and with me, as always, is my awesome co-host, the Welsh Gamer. Welcome, dude.
How's it going, Mr. Boomstick? Got a bit of a sore throat, but that ain't stopping me. What's going on, guys? Everyone in the chat, be sure to hit the like button, spread the word, spread the love, make sure everyone knows we're going live, and I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. Let's do this, Boom. This is going to be a good show.
Yeah, it's actually a show that was not going to be. I didn't put it out on social media because it was just literally chaos here. There was a fire on the first floor. I happened to be on the third floor police officer, or as Mooch likes to say, officer friendly, stepped in. I helped my neighbor and her 9-year-old son down the fire escape. Thankfully, no one was hurt on the first floor. And I am still here doing it live. And in the middle of doing all of this was cleaning my bathroom and doing my wash. So it has been a trying day, to say the least. But you know what? Forget about all of real life. We're here to talk about video games. First and foremost, we both hope that everyone had an amazing Christmas with your friends and family. And being that this is the last show of 2018, I thought it would be no better time than to have the Xbox 2018 year in review kind of episode. I talked with Drew about this. It's a big show. I hope that you guys are going to hang around for the whole thing. We're going to go for an hour and a half as always. But you know what? When you think of the Xbox in 2018, there are a lot of things that come to mind. But in order for the show to flow in a direction that makes sense, I've broken it down in categories that will be used as talking points throughout today's show. So, Drew, we're going to talk about games. Now, there's no doubt this is an area where Microsoft needs to improve, but we will get into that later. Like I said, there's a lot of talking points. We're going to discuss on how 2018 was for Xbox One exclusives, and we have 5 that we're going to talk about in order of their release. First, the year started with Sea of Thieves, which was released on March 20th, 2018. And though the game's art style was of a cartoony appearance, it was the water physics that were the standout. Depending on who you ask, though, Rare's swashbuckling adventure was a blast to play with friends, and the updates in the form of free DLC has changed Sea of Thieves into a fan favorite on the Xbox platform. Drew, I want to know if you've played a significant amount of time of Sea of Thieves, and from our conversations, tell me if you really enjoyed it.
I love Sea of Thieves, Boom. It's for me it's an absolute delight to look at. It's pleasure to the eyes. It's got like that quirky, almost fable look with paint finish, like a paint filter. Kind of looks like a canvas painting come to life. It's got that kind of effect to it. And like you said, the water physics, I mean, visually, absolutely stunning. I'd even argue it's one of the most breathtaking titles out there currently. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, "Ooh, come on now, Welsh. Like, you played Red Dead, you've played The Witcher 3, you've played Rise, Son of Rome. How could you be saying that?" But I'm not always talking about photorealism or anything like that. Like that, this game, Sea of Thieves, visually is so captivating and beautiful, and it does everything right in that regard. And as for gameplay, it might not be everyone's bag, but I just love getting together with a few buddies and tackling the high seas and looking for treasure. It's a great game. I applaud Rare on their efforts for that one.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Say what you want about Sea of Thieves. It's a games as a service, right? So the game is going to grow as the years go on. We haven't even made a full year of its release, right? Obviously, March 20th of 2019 will give it a full year. But you have to tip your hat to Rare. It did launch with some issues. The world at times did feel, slightly empty. But to their credit, they never abandoned the game. Right? They constantly gave free updates. They made massive changes. It's certainly not the same Sea of Thieves it was at launch day when you compare to it right now. And I think that in itself is worth noting. As people know, Sea of Thieves is not Boom's type of game. I'm more of a single player guy that offers multiplayer in the back end, or at running side by side. I really wish that it's Sea of Thieves is something I would have really wanted to get into. I put maybe 2 or 3 hours into the game in total, and I just realized it's just certainly not for me. But you know what? That takes nothing away from what Rare has done. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to Sea of Thieves before we move on to the next one, Drew?
Nope, nothing to add. Everything you said is just absolutely bang on the money. I mean, okay, it's not your game personally, but at least you can appreciate what it is and what it's doing correctly. And games as a service, as you said as well, it's like these games, like we'll go on to more now as you progress through the list, but they're not the same game they were at launch. Like they're always changing and evolving and getting bigger and better. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, again, you have to give credit where credit is due, and I say this all the time, and I absolutely mean it. Not every game is going to be for every gamer. I think that's a fair statement, and just because it's not your type of game doesn't mean you should dump on it. Again, if it's not your bag, I hear you, but it's someone else's. And real quick, I have to give a big shout out to Biggie2316 with the awesome $10 super chat. He says, sorry, it's not much. Boom, you are just absolutely killing it right now. Keep up the great work. Let me tell you something, Biggie. First of all, if you were to give me 50 cents, I would tip my hat to you the same way if you gave me 100. Every dollar counts, and the fact that you've taken money out of your pocket to put it towards the show is always going to be grateful. So certainly do not think $10 is not a lot. It certainly is. I certainly appreciate that. But let's move on to the next game.
Boom. Can I just say one thing quickly?
Yes, please.
Tryhard fan. Sorry. Axel1324 said World of Warcraft is awesome, but not his cup of tea. Siberia CB said Sea of Thieves is fantastic, but like Boom said, it's not for everyone. I just wanted to jump on the back of those comments because they're so right. I think that's the difference between a level-headed gamer and these like fanboy people. Like you see it on Twitter, like someone will be like, that game is trash, that game is dog shit. And it's like, and talking about whatever game, like some people might say it about Spider-Man, some people might say it about Crackdown, some people might say it about Halo.
Correct.
Like people are going to hate games, but the difference is we can still pay respect and tip the hat for a job well done, even if we don't like it.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Very well said, dude. Absolutely well said.
No, that's all I got to say on that. I just wanted to give the props to the guys in the chat for bringing that to my attention because it's very true. That is the difference between a gamer who is just a fan of the industry and just appreciates the good work that's gone into a game, even if they don't like it, versus the idiot who's like, that game's trash, either because they're shit at it, don't like it, or they're just fanatical blinkered fanboys. I don't know.
No, listen, it's perfect. Okay. And you know what? We're going to move on to the next game because this is another game that some people really dumped on. And I put over 60 hours, I won't say over 50, closer to 60 hours into it. State of Decay is a franchise that took the gaming world by storm when it was released onto Xbox Live Arcade on June 5th of 2013, and then was re-released on April 28th of 2015 in the Year One edition. Now, on May 22nd of 2018, State of Decay 2 was released, and though it had some issues out of the door, it has become a solid title. Undead Labs, which is a very small indie studio that has become a AAA first-party Microsoft studio thanks to its acquisition at announcement at E3. With the purchase of Undead Labs, it proves how important the franchise is, not only to Phil Spencer, but also the platform. And there has been some serious talk of State of Decay 3 being spoken about in secret rooms. Now, Undead Lab continues to remain dedicated to the fan base with constant updates, and truthfully, I can't get enough of it. It's terrifying and heart-wrenching at times, and you always have that permadeath in the back of your mind. Like I said, you know what's funny? I sucked at the first one, lost some major characters, and got disheartened. I really put some serious thought about when I was going out, who I was bringing with me, what weapons, what vehicle. There's a lot of strategy that you can put into State of Decay 2. I happen to love it. Again, I'm a big zombie fan. I love The Walking Dead. But Drew, you're a zombie fan. What are your thoughts on State of Decay 2, and what are your hopes for State of Decay 3?
Well, State of Decay 1, going right back to the beginning, was probably it's got to be up there in my top 10. Like, like one of my favorite gaming experiences to date, because it just fleshed out the zombie genre for me better than any other game has ever done before it, in my opinion. I think State of Decay, and then going into State of Decay 2, the franchise in and of itself, the games that Undead Labs do with State of Decay, I honestly, I might be the only one who thinks this, but I'm saying it anyway. But obviously, it is just my opinion. I think State of Decay is the only game out there that does zombies correctly. What I mean by that is not like the zombies themselves, the zombie genre. Like I've said this countless times, whenever I watch The Walking Dead, which in my opinion is the most realistic, if you know, for lack of a better term, zombie survival TV show, series, whatever you want to call it, out there, really, like, you know, probably, you know, puts you in the shoes of people who are just trying to live day to day amongst the living dead. And State of Decay 2 and State of Decay 1 and just State of Decay as a whole is what is probably the only franchise that actually throws you right in there. All the questions I ask myself playing, like watching Walking Dead, like, well, you know, if that person got bit, would I cut his arm off, or shoot him, or get rid of him, or keep him, save him? Would I do this? Would I do that? Would I farm for crops? What base would you do? How many cars to have? How to siphon fuel? Scavenge for parts? Scavenge for food? The list goes on. Things you'd actually have to do in like a post-apocalyptic thing, and State of Decay does it right. And and for me, it's what my ultimate. It's probably up there with Halo and Gears as one of my favorite franchises, hands down. And State of Decay 2 just done everything right. It broke, you know, it was a little bit buggy to begin with, but overall, I've had so much fun with that game. I go back to it quite regularly. I was actually thinking about replaying from the start. Recently, I was thinking about it. But State of Decay 3, man, I have all hope now that it's like going to be getting like the AAA treatment and stuff. Not that that matters, Boom, as we both would probably agree. That it doesn't need the AAA label. No game does. But the fact that it's going to be having that extra treatment, that extra budget, that extra everything you want to call it, now that it's like, you know, first party and all that stuff, it's just unbelievable. It's State of Decay 3 is going to be an outstanding game. I mean, all it has to do is just jump on the back of what State of Decay 2 is doing, but just make everything about it better, and you can't go wrong. Just build on what you've got.
Well, you know what? You're absolutely right. And you know what I want to talk about on the back end of what you're saying, I think is gonna be very relevant. We're gonna see on February 20th. Actually, it's been moved up in February when Crackdown 3 launches. It's going to be the first game that's going to be super powered by the Azure cloud, and I'm excited for that. But you know what? As excited as I am for that game, what I'm excited for is a game like this or Sea of Thieves, right? You take games that are like online heavy, right? Multiplayer heavy, and you're always worried about connections. Once they have this cloud running, all the first party games are going to take full advantage. So could you just imagine, like, you know, one of the biggest complaints with State of Decay 2 was the tethering, right? You know, if me and you played, we could only go so far. Now, to be fair, I think that if you're playing with your buddy, you don't really want to go that far anyway, but I see that there's a hurdle. Well, this hurdle in State of Decay 3, in my opinion, of course, this is in fact, I don't know yet. I'm assuming that it's going to be removed, and it's gonna open up the door where you and I could literally be playing. Hey, boom, go check here. I'm gonna go check here, and there are other ends of the map. But we're still talking. We're still maintaining communication. I think that there is a real serious possibility that we're going to see these games grow in a way that we may not see in other consoles. Remember, Microsoft's infrastructure for the cloud is leading technology, and as far as we know, again, taking nothing away from Sony, this is where they're behind. There's no doubt about it. But you know what? If you have nothing else to say, I kind of want to go on to the next one because I think this is a big title that we got this year.
Yeah, go ahead, Boom.
Okay, on October 2nd, 2018, saw the release of the greatest racer ever to release on a gaming console when Forza Horizon 4 was bestowed onto the Xbox community by one of the best studios that Microsoft has in their first-party roster, Playground Games. Everything about this game screams quality. The sights are breathtaking. The choice of vehicles are second to none. The fact that the title takes place in England was the highlight for many of the UK Xbox fans, and they recreated it masterfully. The amount of options for the players are staggering, and the mini games that allow you to win new cars, cash, and clothes for your in-game avatar are literally unreal. Okay, there's no doubt about it. The game's world used to be inhabited by drivatars, and you still have that option. But now there is also an option for real gamers on your friends list, and I think that's awesome because at any moment you can see your friend racing, you beep them, and they're joining your party. It's that simple. It's worked perfectly for me. I've had no issues. Okay. Now, hanging out and racing with friends has never been easier and more fun, and that is a confirmed fact because I've played with other people, and it's great. The first of the multiple DLCs released in Fortune Island. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If you haven't played it, you got to get on it. The weather effects are incredible, especially when that lightning hits you. It actually will, if you're racing and it hits the ground next to you, it could shock you. It made me hit a tree because I didn't expect it. It kind of freaked me out. But you know what? This game is a masterpiece. This game came out at the right time. It is literally, it should be or is already going to become the standard, in my opinion, on what a racer should look like and how it should be dealt with in regards to DLC and in-game purchases, where you play the game, you get money, you get a couple of spins, you get your content. Simple. But Drew, I want to get your opinion on this because obviously you're in England and you want and you've seen some of these sites in real life. I have not. How incredible did they recreate the UK with Forza Horizon 4?
Well, I think just like when you ask about Forza Horizon 4, for me, it's a game that like I have not followed the Forza franchise religiously like some people like yourself, Boom. And this one didn't buy. I got through Game Pass.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I was just like, do you know what? Because it's there, thanks to Game Pass, I'm going to give it a try. And obviously, like because of like games like Red Dead 2 that has like come out of the woodworks, like I haven't played as much Forza as I'd like to have played. I mean, it's always there to go back to, of course. But the time I had with Forza Horizon 4 was really, really something else, Boom. I got to be honest. Like, consider what the picture I'm trying to paint here is the fact that like I'm not really a big racing fan, and I've said this to you and the chat and in podcasts prior, that like I have never been, at least not for a very long time, a huge racing fan. And I went into Forza with a pretty open mind, like, I know Forza's good. I'm gonna have a little go, see how I get on, and I've had a lot of fun with it in my short time playing it so far. And to say that it is the standard for what racers should be aiming for is an understatement.
Nice. Very well said.
But honestly, I'm not joking. I mean, whether it's Project Cars, whether it's Gran Turismo, whether it's Forza Motorsport, which is a separate franchise entirely to Horizon, Need for Speed, bloody, even fucking Mario Kart. Like, honestly, for just sheer realism, whether you want to go down the visual graphic route or the feel of the cars and the grip on the roads, the weather effects, the dynamic weather, like like you could master the turn on one of these drifting corners, which I've done in the past, by the way. I love drifting. It's almost an obsession. And then you'll just master this one corner. So it's like, oh, that's beautiful. Like, get as many points as possible. And then the next time you turn the game on, it's snowing, and you've got to relearn completely how to do that corner again because it's a whole different bloody road, like a whole different. It's more slippery. It's taken into account that the road is icy and snowy, and you've got to change your tires. And it sounds complex and maybe a bit daunting, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. And I just got to give Forza Horizon 4 its props. I mean, even for someone like me who had no real intention of getting it, I've had a lot of fun with it, and I have every intention of going back and playing more of it because it is a very good game, and they've done a very good job with it.
Yeah, they absolutely have. And you know what? You touched on a point that if I don't mention it, I'm going to feel like I cheated the game. The changing weather, the seasons. No one has. I mean, listen, we've seen it done where you'll drive through a mountain and it's snowy, and then you'll come out and it's sunny. But the way that they break it down, where it changes weekly, is really an incredible thing. And you know what? The options for the vehicles literally are limitless, but they're not in a way that is that, like someone who's not a car nut may find, too much tuning would be too much for them, right? Like if you're not really a car enthusiast, it would be white noise trying to tell you about, rims and parts and brakes and wings for the rear of the vehicle. They make it easy. They have it as simple as I think you can get. You hit a button, you can automatically upgrade your stuff. It gives you the best of the best for a couple of bucks, that you earn in game, and you're good to go. You find there's barn finds all over the place. The map is tremendous. The
The map,
DLC,
mate, the map is beautiful.
yeah, it
Like
is.
it's an absolute. It is eye candy. Like I've literally gone like half an hour to an hour when I was on that game, just having not done one race because I'm just driving around looking at things. It's that beautiful. It's captivating.
It is. It's gorgeous to look at night, during the day, during a rainstorm, during a blizzard. Finding every location in there. It's always fun trying to find all the barn finds and all of the signs you have to break. Some of them are extremely challenging. You have to jump off mountains to get to where one's sitting on top of a house. It's just, listen. All I can say is this: what they have done with this game, it makes you wonder how could they make it any better? Like really, like when you think about it, we don't know what the other DLCs are going to be. Obviously, to this day, as great as Forza Horizon 4 is, the best DLC in regards to racing I've ever played is Hot Wheels. I used to play with them as a kid. I had, the track with the dinosaur, growing up. So, I mean, when you see that in video games and you remember playing as a kid, it really is, it's unbelievable. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the next couple of DLCs. I am gonna say one thing I'm glad that they fixed. If you remember the first time you bought the DLC package, the new DLCs did not come in there. But when you buy the $100 edition, which I did, everything came in there, including all future DLCs. And I thought that was smart. That was the way to go. But you know what? Let's move on to the next game. Now, this is a game that both Drew and I talked about. Again, the game looks fun, looks gorgeous. Salty, who's in the chat, what's up, Salty? Beat the heck out of this game. He did a really good review on it. Go to his channel and check it out. Drew nearly, he laughed and cried at the same time. Ashen, of course, I'm talking about, from indie developer Aurora 44, has been in development for a really long time. But as a surprise to all Xbox gamers, it released 3 weeks ago. And not being a Souls fan, I've come to understand that it's just not for me. But the title is fantastic, to say the least. Sure, the online has its confusing issues, and I'm not gonna give him a pass on that. It should be pick a friend, get him in there, and go. That's how it should be. It's very convoluted. And confusing when they have to put out an instructions on how to do it on Twitter. I think they might have made a few mistakes with it, but that doesn't take away from how great the game is. Drew, you put a significant amount of time into this. Like I said, there were times where you loved it, and there was times where you hated it. What are your takeaways on Ashen being one of those games that that are in the 5 games released as Xbox One exclusives for 2018?
It's a solid title, Boom. I've certainly said this, and shout out to Saltis Gaming. His review was phenomenal.
Yes, it was.
I'm still waiting for him to party up with me and help me with this. I think I'm on the last boss because I need help, man. I'm still stuck on this freaking boss. But honestly, it's a really good game. Before I go any further, though, I need to say. I completely agree with what you're saying about the multiplayer thing, though. I mean, I haven't actually used the multiplayer. I've only heard people talk about how it's really inconvenient and shit like that. So I haven't experienced it personally, but I think the concept of in and out multiplayer is quite cool. That like once you turn that multiplayer on in the settings, you could be playing through the game, and without knowing it, the AI that you're with is actually a player, and that's phasing in and out depending on the mission you're on and stuff. That's a cool concept, but I do think it would have been a hell of a lot simpler if they had another mode as well, where if you wanted to play with your mates, you just do like every other game in the freaking world does, and just you invite them, and there you go. Like rather than that bloody cryptid code bloody thing, like 00175, yeah, that's the one. Like it's I mean, honestly, I'm just going by what people have told me. It does sound like a fucking weird way to go, but other than that, mate, I got nothing but good stuff to say about Ashen. Visually sound, great fun. It's just a headbanger. I'm literally 50-50 on whether I want to cry or laugh or whatever when I'm playing that game, because like you could do this whole mission, be one room away from the final bloody bit, and then you just bloody die and you have to start the whole thing again. It is horrible. It's torture, but it's amazing at the same time. It kept me coming back. I really want to finish it.
Well, Salty said in the chat he's going to help you, so good. Good on you, because Salty's a good dude like that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear it. DM me on Twitter, dude, and we'll sort out a time, because I really want to complete that game, but I'm just so I don't mind admitting it. I'm so freaking stuck on this last mission. It's doing my head in. But not what a game though. I do recommend it. Phenomenal game, and it sits pretty up there with the rest. Boom, as a very solid Xbox title for 2018.
Nice. Well, last but certainly not least, which came out about a week ago, maybe two now. Below is another title that's been in development for well over 5 years at Cappy Games, and was finally released on December 14th. Many people in the community have embraced this little title, that it has a Dark Souls / Zelda-like quality to it. There are many things that some gamers don't like about it, and I like to give him a big shout out. Not that he needs it, because he's a big YouTube star. But Randall Thor 19, he had I heard him on his last podcast with Jez Gordon, and they were talking about it, and his biggest nay for it was the fact that it had an eat drink you had to eat and drink to stay alive, outside of everything else trying to kill you in the game. Again, not a title for Boom. Okay, I understand that, but if this is your type of game, then you know what? It's great. It's in Game Pass, right? It gets in there. You don't have to spend any money other than your $10 a month that you're already spending. And if, of course, you're frugal like me, you pay $5 because I buy them in bulk. But you know what? I don't have much to say about it. I've seen plenty of videos. I've seen a lot of people talk about it. I haven't played it. I'm going to admit it. But again, I understand it's just not my kind of game. Welsh, what are your takeaways on Below? Did you give it a go, or is it something you're not interested in right now?
Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you, Boom. A few podcasts prior, so a few weeks back now, when we were discussing Ashen and Below, when we were talking about, Ashen and Below are going to be coming to Game Pass soon. So at this point, Ashen and Below hadn't even dropped. And your question to me then was, are you excited to play Ashen or Below or both? And you were asking me if I was excited. And I said to you then that Ashen has been on my radar for a long time. Below, on the other hand, I'll check it out. And now we fast forward to today, and I'm sitting in pretty much the exact same shoes, where Ashen I'm still loving and I want to finish. Shout out to Salty, he's going to help me. And when I'm looking at Below, even before, shout out to Randall Thor, as you mentioned him, but before even watching his review on his channel a few days ago or weeks ago, whatever, I was looking at Below as if to say, I still was unsure. That's pretty much my answer in terms of just looking at it as an outsider, based on looking at the trailer and stuff like that. It's a game I have every intention of starting, or at least had every intention of starting. But then I'm not going to lie, even though I've spread this a million times over to everyone in the chat and in podcast prior, do not listen to someone's review as fact. Listen to it as in a looking outside the box kind of way.
Yes, absolutely.
But with that said, I gotta be honest. Randall 4's review kind of put me off the game. I'm still gonna give it a go on principle,
Right.
but the fact that, like you said, the eating and drinking thing like that, it pisses me off. That shit, micromanaging, I hate it. That shit, that stuff belongs on Sims and Sims alone. Leave Sims be. That's what put me off We Happy Few.
Yes,
But,
yes.
it's a great looking game, and for people enjoying it, crack on. But that is what quickly made me forget and walk away from We Happy Few, was the fact that you had to find water and a bloody bit of lettuce if you wanted to survive. It's like, fuck this. Like, it's not for me personally. Again, concerning below, I will give it a try. But based on the reviews I've seen and just what people have told me and what you just said a moment ago, I can probably say for certain I'm not going to enjoy it as much as maybe some. But I'm going to give it a go. It does look appealing. Obviously, for it to be in Game Pass and considered an Xbox exclusive, it's bound to be at least good. So I'll give it a try, Boom. I'll give it a try. But to say that, I'll be frank in saying that to look at from a distance as someone who hasn't played, it hasn't really made me. It hasn't given me that impulse yet to like run out and play it.
Yeah, well, you know what? Look, here's the thing. It's in Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, it's worth giving it a download. If it's not, if it's you played and it's not for you, you kind of do what Randall Thor did. He deleted it from his hard drive because what basically happened, if you don't know the story, there's permadeath, obviously, and there's he got stuck where he died in a location where he needed a lantern. And the game is supposed to have doors that once you go through them, they stay open. Well, it didn't. It was a glitch. So he couldn't get back to the lantern that he needed to play the game. So he erased his save, started again, and something else happened. And he was like, you know what, that's it. After hearing his review, which I thought was fantastic, I just realized it's just not for Boom. But that's perfectly okay. Now,
it's like you said, Boom. If you're a Game Pass subscriber like myself, you have nothing to lose to try it. You have nothing to lose by trying it. You might... despite everything I've said, Rand said in his review, Bob down the road says, you might love it. Give it a try.
Yeah, well, listen, there's no doubt that Microsoft had a good year for their first party market. And truthfully, I expect that this is going to change. When you say out loud what games they had, and again, comparing to what Sony did is comparing apples to oranges, because we know the shortcomings of what Microsoft had in the last year or two with their first party games. I'll be the first one to admit it. Some of them may not be for you. Some of them are not the strongest titles. 2 out of the 5 are games that I play. The other 3 I don't. And again, not every game is for every gamer, and I'm a perfect example of that. Of course, I'm going to play Forza Horizon 4, and of course I played the heck out of State of Decay, and I will continue to play it with new updates and newer maps or whatever else. And the other 3 games, I just understand they're just not for me. So I still don't think it was a bad year. I think it was a decent to good year. But we understand as Xbox gamers that the titles are coming. But like I said, I don't want to get into any more particulars regarding that, because that's a whole subject coming down the line. But you know what, the games were the games. Most of them showed up into Game Pass, if not I'm sorry, most of them, all of them showed up into Game Pass, which is great, especially if this is money you didn't spend. Like I said, if I would have bought Ashen for whatever it cost, I'd have been mad as hell, because I'm like, damn, I bought a game that's like Souls. I suck at the Souls games. This game has a very convoluted online system. It's a turnoff for me. And I don't know if I want to play it. I'd have been mad. But the fact that it's in Game Pass, it's in there. It's probably going to stay in there because it's considered a Microsoft first party. They're not going to be pulling that out anytime soon, if at all. So, I mean, listen, they need to do better. They are going to do better. And if you have nothing else to add, I kind of just want to move on to topic number 2.
All I've got to say, Boom, is just a little overview of 2018 as a whole.
Please.
And it's simple. I think 2018 was a strong-ish year, in the sense that there wasn't really a dull moment. And all those games above that we've talked about may not all be AAA or photorealistic or whatever else bullshit quality standards some of these gaming bigots we've come to know and love on Twitter, need in order for a game to be good for them. But they're all, in their own respective way, have a lot of, they're fun and have a lot of replayability, which is, in my opinion, the most important thing about a game.
Yeah.
When I think about gaming, Boom, yes, graphics are nice. It's nice to have a nice, pretty game and this and that. But if the gameplay isn't there and the story isn't there and the fun isn't there, then you've got a shit game on your hands. So, and that can't be said for Sea of Thieves, State of Decay, Forza, and Ashen at the least. All of those games I've had fun with, enjoyed, and offer a lot of replayability with constant updates and support. So, that's all I wanted to say. 2018 could have been stronger, but it was strong-ish. I give 2018 for Xbox a 3 out of 5.
Okay, that's a very fair score. That's a fair score. I think most Xbox gamers could hang their hat on that score, because I think you're right. I mean, even if you want to push the envelope and say, okay, I'll give them a half a point, 3.5 stars.
Yeah.
You could get away with that without being being considered a fanboy, because it wasn't a 4. It certainly wasn't a 2 or 2.5. So I agree with you right there. But you know what? Let's talk hardware and controllers for a second. Now, the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X are what Microsoft has on the current market. And if you missed the big headlines for Black Friday, the Xbox One S and combination with the Xbox One X sold 1.3 million systems. And for a console that has no games and was dying according to the toxic fanboys of the internet, that's really good, because guess what? So that number was exactly what the other two competitors came in, the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation branded PS4 Pro, as well as the Slim. They all sold 1.3 million, plus something. Obviously, Sony sold a little bit more. That's to be expected, because, come on, they've had a good year. The Xbox One X is still $400. Depending on where you look, you have to be a frugal gamer. It's not going to, jump into your lap. You got to go looking for this because the holidays are technically officially over. I personally think that if you can afford to have another console in your wheelhouse, you owe it to yourself to support multiple consoles, to experience what each system has to offer. The exclusives are what move consoles. There's no doubt. But when you have all three consoles in that wheelhouse, you remove the console war nonsense that we're always arguing or talking about. And I don't mean we per se, because a lot of people in the chat, they're all good people, who I've dealt with, and they don't really get in the middle of the console war shenanigans. They just want to play good games. But I'm going to say this. We know that it's the most powerful console in the Xbox One X. And if Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't sell you on it, man, I don't know what will. Every game looks, plays, and runs better on the Xbox One X. That is a proven fact. That is not me being a fanboy. And it's the place to play all third-party games. End of story. Now, Drew, before we move on to the Xbox One controllers that include the White Elite controller, which Mrs. BoomStick got me for Christmas, and, of course, the incredible adaptive controller, which I purchased for J-Dubs as a Christmas present because he's the man and he deserves it. I want your opinion on the Xbox One X and what it's done for gaming as we know it in 2018.
Right. I gotta say, Boom, I completely agreed with what you said about Red Dead 2. Like, they come out and they say that every game looks and plays better on the X. You could wash that away as like, that's just PR talk. That's just what they have to say to sell it. You lying bastards. You nearly got me. But the truth of the matter is, a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 it literally proves that what they're saying is true.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on. Yes.
Unbelievable. But in answer to your question, my opinion of the Xbox One X is this. It's completely, for me anyway, it's completely transformed how I look at my games.
Oh, yeah.
Like before the One X, I obviously appreciated good visuals and would tip the hat to developers that did a good job of captivating me in an awe-inspiring virtual world. But the One X, to put it simply, is distracting. Gaming has never been more distracting to me than it is right now. Even
Right.
when I'm in a game like The Witcher 3, State of Decay 2, Red Dead 2, or even Ashen, as we mentioned before, just to name a couple, I could go hours, Boom, not doing, honestly, I could go hours not doing a story mission or a side quest. As I'm just distracted by how unbelievable the visuals are. It's just something you need to witness to understand. So, in a nutshell, the Xbox One X is distracting, but in a really great way. And
Yes.
I highly recommend it. And it's truly raised my expectations for what consoles will deliver in the future, especially when talking about next generation Xbox hardware. I fully expect the Scarlet to blow the doors off my house.
Yeah, no, we're gonna really get into that after, and
Oh,
I think you're absolutely
honestly,
right. I think every Xbox gamer is waiting patiently to see exactly what this beast is gonna be. But real quick, before I continue on the topic, I have to give a big shout out to Face23 BKNY. He says, "I don't bleed green, but I like your content being professional and non-toxic. Keep up the good work and happy holidays." Boom. Listen, thank you so much. That in itself, I'm very excited. More so about the comment, and I certainly appreciate the $5 super chat. That's very kind of you. Yes, one of the pillars that holds Double Barrel Gaming up is being non-toxic, is trying to be as positive as I can be, not being a fanboy, talking the truth. I don't like dumping on systems. I certainly will not dump on anybody in this community, even when if somebody's being rude. And I've had quite a few people message me privately that were just absolutely horrible people. But you know what? You put them on the pay no mind list and you just keep it moving. And I'm really glad that you're enjoying the content because, quite frankly, what I'm doing right now is a dream come true. Yes, yeah, I was a New York City police officer for 21 years. I loved every minute of it. I got to help and meet so many amazing New Yorkers over the course of my career. Best job I've ever had. But I'm going to be honest with you. I really was always meant to be behind a microphone. And I'm glad that the community has embraced me in a way that they have. So I can do this, now that I'm retired because I'm having a blast. And again, working with magnificent people like the Welsh Gamer here just makes it that much better. But you know what? Let's talk about the White Elite controller, shall we? Now, I currently own it, thanks to, of course, Mrs. Boomstick. Completely, I wasn't surprised I got it because she's amazing. And usually when I ask for something, she always says I'm the hardest person to shop for because what does Mooch always say? Boom buys everything. So this year I didn't buy shit because obviously I wanted to make sure that I didn't ruin her Christmas because you don't want to already have the White Elite and she shows you she's excited because she knows you want this and you give it to me. So I have the White Elite controller along with my Gears of War Elite controller. And listen, it's a premium controller that comes at a premium price. There's no doubt about it. It's $150, but man, if you've never held an Elite controller in your hand, once you do, I can tell you, as great looking as some of the custom controllers are for the Xbox One, the controllers are great, best controller in the business, but it's a little light. Once you pick up the Elite controller and you play your favorite game, whatever that may be, it's hard to go back. So I'm happy about that. Listen, Drew, I want to get your takes on this. You have an Elite controller, from what I understand. Is that correct?
nope.
You don't have an Elite controller. Well, we
No.
got wow.
I have every intention of getting one eventually. And I wish I had one right now, but truth of the matter is I just haven't been in a position where I could fork out like the 150 for one. But that day will come close soon enough. I'm hoping one day just to see one in my local CEX store or something and like for like a third of the price and just
That would
snap.
be great. Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
man.
listen, it is. Listen, let me just say this. There are more expensive controllers where that they're from other companies that are out there, and they can't match the Elite controller. The $150, yes, it is premium price. But if you game as much as I do, and I do put a significant amount of gaming into it, having this controller is just, it makes everything so much better. So I'm expecting the Elite 2.0 to be unveiled. I don't know how to be honest, I don't know how much better they could make it. This is a masterpiece.
Well,
I am gonna.
I'll say this, Boom. Like, I mean, granted, I haven't got one, but I have used one, and I can say quite confidently, not even like, oh, it's just my opinion. You know, I'm saying it now. This is a fact. Like, this is why I'm hungry for one. I want one immediately. But it's the best controller on the market, hands down.
Yeah,
Absolutely, hands down. The quality, the feel, the weight to it, everything about it. I've used one when I was at EGX as well recently in September. Just a great overall premium product, and the quality is absolutely outstanding. Like, there is no controller out there that can compete with the Elite controller.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say this. A little bit of a side note. My Gears of War. A little quick story on that. But the original one, obviously, I got it pre-ordered the minute it went up on the Windows Store. Got here, I used it. The right bumper broke, so I sent it in to be repaired, and unfortunately, they sent me the standard black one instead of the Elite. You know, the one that I sent them. So I was devastated. And Aaron Greenberg, who is an amazing person, got involved. He was able to get me the Gears controller. And unfortunately, I'm very doubtful about what I'm going to do with it. My right bumper once again has broken on the Gears of War. I don't know if it's a standard defect, but I was playing Assassin's Creed, which that's one of the attack buttons, and it's kind of popped out. So it still works, but the button's loose. So I don't know what I'm going to do about I'm afraid to send it in because I don't want a black one. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but the Gears of War one is selling for $800 on eBay. Obviously, I couldn't replace it, so I'm kind of on the fence about what I'm going to do. But it is an incredible controller. It does have its slight flaws, if you will. I know a lot of people have complained about the rubber coming off the handle. That's never happened to me. And I am going to say that now this is the second right bumper button that has broken. So I don't know. But you know what? I'm using the white one for right now, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'll give the community an update. Hopefully, they can fix it and just fix this one. Don't send me anything else. But you know what? I want to talk about the adaptive controller. Now, Drew and we've had major discussions about this. I think that this isn't your ordinary controller. This is a generation-defying controller. Some people would dare even say life-changing, and I would be one of those people bold enough to suggest such a thing. It caters to the physically challenged gamers that go usually unrecognized in the gaming space. Sure, there have been custom Frankenstein controllers that can cost in the range of hundreds of dollars, but Microsoft did something in 2018 that is just, listen, what could you say? The incredible team at Redmond not only designed a streamlined and very nice looking controller with lots of accessories that you can buy to fit nearly every disability, but the entry price is only $100. Now I say only, and listen, I don't have hundreds growing on the tree in the bedroom, but for what this can do for someone who's physically challenged, that would be the greatest $100 they could ever spend. Having it affordable was the right choice. And I honestly could not be more proud and happier to say that I'm an Xbox gamer just based on what they were able to do. Now, Drew, I want you to break down the Elite controller and I want you to break down, I'm sorry, not the Elite, the adaptive controller and what this means for gaming as we know it now and in the future.
Well, when you consider, like, we've talked about the Elite controller and how good it is. It's just a premium product, like the best controller you can buy, hands down. But then when you consider the Xbox adaptive controller, you said it, Boom. It's a life-changing gift for a lot of gaming enthusiasts that might have not been able to physically game due to maybe age, maybe they're getting old and arthritis has kicked in, or that, I don't know, a condition, an illness, a disability. There's so many reasons for what could get in the way of a gaming enthusiast wanting to actually game, and this gives them that thing. But like, in answer to your question, like, both the Elite and the adaptive controller are in their own respective rights a staple of how gaming should be. And Xbox has proved that it is worth the effort to go above and beyond to reach out to every type of gamer. In the Elite's case, it's the hardcore that just wants that premium experience or that competitive edge. But in the adaptive controller's case, it's the person who previously had no choice but to either limit themselves to what they could play or maybe not play games at all, having to watch while always wanting to be part of the fun, and now they
Yeah.
can.
Yes.
All this says to me about gaming and the future, though, Boom, of gaming for Xbox is this: whoever you are in the world, Xbox has you covered and has something in mind or in place for every individual that wants to game.
I'm just checking these. Bernard. All right, thank you. You want me to check the bottom?
Oh, I believe he's gone to the door. Some postman, I imagine. He's coming back now, guys. I can hear him. Dun, 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 dun,
I'm sorry
dun.
about that, brother. Yeah, of course, you know the super's knocking to make sure that the apartment's not on fire. So
No,
okay.
don't be deaf, man. Do you want me to say that last bit again?
Yes, please, if you wouldn't mind.
No, that's fine. That's fine. What I was saying, basically, Boom, I got it written down here, is that both the Elite controller and the adaptive controller are, in their own respective rights, a staple of how gaming should be. And Xbox has proved that, proved it is worth the effort to go above and beyond to reach out to every type of gamer. In the Elite's case, you've got the hardcore covered that just wants the premium experience or that competitive edge. And in the adaptive controller's case, it's the person who previously had no choice but to either limit themselves to what they could play or maybe not play games at all, having to watch while, wanting to be
Yes,
part of the fun.
yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, let me just say this.
No, but now that's the thing of them. The beauty of it is they can now, and all this says to me about gaming, and the future of gaming for Xbox is simple. Whoever you are in the world, Xbox has you covered and has something in mind or in place for every individual that wants to be a part of this amazing gaming community.
You are absolutely right, and that was well said. I actually heard most of it before the guy was knocking at the door. But you know what? Speaking of doors, Microsoft is knocking down doors and making gaming accessible to all gamers. And it's why I think that the company's future is extremely bright. Listen, leaving no gamer behind is something that they have been preaching. And you know something? Again, this is not piling on Sony. This is not piling on Nintendo, okay? What they did for the disabled community in 2018 is unbelievable. Okay, that's the end of the story. And I think what's sad is that you have not heard anything from Sony or Nintendo, two companies that I right now support. Okay, you have not heard anything from them regarding this. This has been Microsoft's baby. They kept this under wraps for a while. They surprised all of the the gaming world. I don't think they got enough credit personally. I'm not saying there should be a rose parade for them. I'm saying that I don't think it was covered enough. I mean, listen, that's not being biased. That's simply speaking the truth. Like, again, not a lot of podcasts talked about it. There were some, for me personally, it's something I lead the charge with because I think it's important that people know about it. Because again, gaming is supposed to be for everyone. The Microsoft always says a non-inclusive, right? They want it to be non-inclusive, and I love that about them. Before we move on, Drew, anything else you'd like to add in regards to this particular topic?
No, other than what you just said, like the adaptive controller does not get enough credit. And I'm saying this now. If PlayStation had done this instead of Xbox, it would have been all over the media sites. It'd have been touted a lot differently. Like, let's call a spade, Boom. Like, you are right when you say we haven't really seen a great deal of coverage on this. But if it was PlayStation, every bloody media outlet, and their dog would be saying how amazing Sony is for doing this. It is disgraceful, I think. I know Xbox and Phil and the team did not do this to get the credit, like the brownie points. They didn't do it for that reason. They did it so, like you said, not to leave anyone behind. But the fact of the matter is, they did something that no other platform is even thinking about doing. While they're posting units sold and singing to the high heavens about another bloody one and done title or whatever you want to call it, Xbox was making moves to make sure that people who can't physically game can now actually game. and no
Yes.
one's talking about it apart from us. Basically, I personally think it's disgusting misconduct to Xbox and the
Oh
effort
God, it's gross. Yeah.
but that's just me. I'm not. I don't want to end that topic on a low, because that is an excellent topic, and both those controllers we mentioned, respectively, incredible, and the adaptive controller is nothing but spectacular, and proves where Xbox is as a company and how for the gamer they are. But I do think it's disgraceful how little it's been covered. I mean, I'm surprised some people even know what an adaptive controller is. Like, it's mental.
Yeah, you know what? Again, you know, it's disheartening, to be honest with you. I mean, I've seen several articles throughout, you know, it's since it was you know, announced, but certainly not enough coverage, in my opinion, you know, to garner what exactly it is. Again, you said something. I love the way you put it. Life changing. People don't understand if you're a disabled gamer and you were unable to play a particular type of game, like say for instance, a first person shooter, this allows you to now do that. And you know what? Gaming, you know, transports people. You know, out of sometimes life is tough. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need to get away, and gaming is a good way to do that outside of watching movies and reading books. And now everyone can have that opportunity at an affordable price, because even the parts are like 20 to 25 bucks per part. And that's actually not bad for what this controller can do. But you know what? Let's move on to the next topic.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about services in 2018. As we know, Xbox Game Pass released late last year, but it was in 2018 that it propelled the service to the top of everyone's talking point, both on Twitter and the mainstream media. Here's just a few of the awesome titles that launched into Game Pass day and date of their console release. You had Dondara, Grip, which is combat racing, Laser League, Mutant Year Zero, Observer, Robocraft, State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves, Thief of Thieves, Warhammer Vermintide, Forza Horizon 4, and right now for the $10 a month, you're getting over 200 games. Now, let's also remember, like I said earlier, all first-party games will be going into this day and date. That includes your Gears 5, that includes your Crackdown 3, that includes everything. What are your takeaways from what they were able to do with Game Pass?
Oh, mate, it's Game Pass is outstanding. Like, it's gotten, I'd say it's gotten much bigger and more popular this year, 2018. It has definitely branded itself as the true Netflix of gaming. Like, for $10 a month, Boom, you get in over 200 games with the promise of every first-party game to be released for no extra charge, day and date. Like, Boom, what have we been saying for so long? Like, the value, man. Like, I don't want to be a broken record, but talk about value for money. Honestly, Xbox is looking very strong on the first party front 2019, and beyond that, you know, especially when you consider next gen with all the new first party acquisitions, Xbox Game Pass's future just got a whole lot more appealing.
Oh my God, yes.
You know, if you haven't subscribed already, I think you're making a big mistake. If you were to ask me, it is literally the gift that keeps on giving. It is a fantastic service. Probably, do you know what? We've got a list of services here, Boom, that we're going to go through, but I think that one service alone puts Xbox above the rest, in my opinion. I think it's such a phenomenal service, and it is. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The only other service out there today that gives you that level of value for your, you know, minimal contribution money wise a month is Netflix itself. I do not want to be a broken record, but that is the only service out there you can compare Game Pass to, and that says a lot.
No, I mean, listen, you know, when you talk about consoles, right? You know, the first thing that comes out is games, and for you know what, to be fair, rightfully so, right? You buy a console for, you know, specific games, and a person like yourself who supports Xbox, you know, that's your sole console. You buy it for particular games. If you're a PlayStation player, you buy it for more than likely, Sony's first party games, which I absolutely adore. And the same thing goes for the Nintendo Switch. You buy it for their first party games. You buy it for the flexibility of being able to take it and go. But you know what? It seems as if, depending on what part of the wormhole you fall out of in social media, services are just there. They're not important. And I'm here to tell you that they are important. And we're going to continue talking about them. Next up, we have EA Access. Now, this is still exclusive to the Xbox platform, and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon. Besides the ton of games in the vault, you save 10% on all EA games and DLC for $5 a month, or the best deal for $30 a year, which is ridiculous. Another service that you're getting your money worth. Listen, I understand EA. They're considered the whore masters, if you will, of the industry. We know what happened with Star Wars Battlefront. We know how they've treated their employees. We know all of this, right? But as a service, EA Access is. Let me just say this: if you're not spending the $30 to get what they have in there, you're crazy. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that right live on the air. I'm hoping that sometime in 2019 we get EA Origin Access, which the PC gets, because all of their first, EA games go in there just like Game Pass, day and date, for $100 a year. And I think as many games as I buy from EA, that would be an absolute steal. What are your takeaways on the fact that EA Access is that cheap and the Xbox brand platform is the only one to have it?
When you say it out loud like that, everything you just said, it just makes it more comical for me personally that Yoshida was given the opportunity to have EA Access and turned it down with the exact quote I give you guys in the chat, because it was not good value for money or something like that. And it
wasn't a good value to their customers. That's what they said.
Yeah. Like, he decided for his fan base that you don't need it. But and it's funny, man. But like, I love EA Access. I've been a subscriber to that now for at least a few years, I think. I do like getting the annual FIFA game, and I do like Battlefield and Star Wars Battlefront. I mean, I'll put my hand up right now. I do think EA has a lot of ground to cover when it comes to the development of their games. Like, I do think they could put a bit more effort, especially when I consider like sport games from EA, that they're just pumping them out every 8 to 9 months, and like without any real innovation or making it better. They know that people left and right are going to buy it, so they just give you whatever trash they can throw together. It's quite bad, really. But still, talking up EA's Access, I mean, I love the 10-hour trials, like being able to play The Sims 4 for 10 hours, being able to play Battlefield 5. I still got about 6 hours left on my trial. It's great. And then as well that you're going to get great discounts. I love the big discounts. Like, I'm waiting for the Super Bowl, because last year Madden 18 was literally like 80% off.
Yes.
On Super Bowl night. So I'm gonna wait till Super Bowl for Madden 19 to drop considerably, and then I'll grab it for like literally £15. I think Madden 18 was. It's great value. I think if you follow EA's work and you're a supporter of EA games, you'd be a fool not to have EA Access. Let's just put it that way. It pays for itself, really.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, okay, here's a perfect example. I didn't get a response from BioWare because I wanted to find out if they were going to release a collector's edition with like a statue for Anthem. And I've been looking. I have not seen anything. The biggest collector's edition that they have is, I think, the one that's is 80. Is it $80? I think it's $80. I'm not sure what it comes with. But I wound up getting it for $9 cheaper. Because I paid, I think, $71 for it, as opposed to the $80 plus tax, because I have EA Access. Anthem is a game I'm looking forward to. It's going to be what I think from what I've seen, it looks like a game that I always wanted Destiny to be. The fact that you can fly around You're going to be able to play with 3 of your buddies, so it's going to be a total team of 4. I think that's amazing. So I saved money on that. You save money on all DLC. So I mean, again, you spend the $30. The games that they put in there, the vault is packed with games.
Oh yes.
Again, it's
some backwards compatible ones as well.
Yeah, tons of them. Absolutely, tons of them. And you know what? If it's a game that you haven't played, guess what? You got a new game. So
sure. I tell you what's good as well, worth mentioning. I didn't actually have it in my notes, but something you said reminded me. But with EA Access, a lot of its games, when approaching its release date, you actually can get. I'm pretty sure, like most of their games. I know they did it with Star Wars Battlefront. I'm pretty sure they do it with FIFA as well. But you get it like a few days early. I think some games have even done like nearly a whole week earlier than everyone else that doesn't have EA Access. And brought up the point with that I was thinking of with Star Wars Battlefront 2. They Sony had a marketing deal with it, with the whole promise of like you'll get it 5 days early or whatever. And I was there playing it 5 days early as well because I had EA Access. So it completely rendered that marketing deal like useless. It was quite funny. Another great perk of EA Access is you do get to access games early.
Yeah, that to me is one of the standouts. But real quick, I just have to say a big shout out to Alex1324 with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, Boom and Welsh, thanks for being a part of the Xbox YouTube community. Have to get back to work. I will finish. I will finish listening later. Happy New Year. Yes, dude. Listen, I love seeing you in the chat, dude. You're one of the gamers I enjoy talking with. You're positive. You just enjoy having a lot of fun with gamers. I definitely appreciate that. And real quick, Al Hogan, my man, my brother in blue, with the $25 super chat. He says, boom. And the man, let's see what it says. And the man from across the pond, love the show. Hope you had a kick-ass holiday. Yes, we certainly have. Thank you once again, Al Hogan. That is a fellow guy, a guy in blue, and I cannot thank him enough for the support that he's given me. But Welsh, you know what? Let's move on to the next topic if you're okay with that.
Yep, absolutely.
Xbox Live Gold. Now, here's the thing. You get 4 titles each month, 2 Xbox One and 2 Xbox 360 games for being a gold subscriber, though 2018 has seen more bad titles than good ones. Some gamers in the community are saying that the Xbox Game Pass may be the reason for the gold's shortcomings. Now, look, I understand free is free. Like everyone says, well, it's free. Well, technically, it's not. You're paying $60 a year. Of course, if you're a frugal gamer like I am, I had during not last year's Black Friday, but the year before, found Xbox Live 12 months for $31. I bought 3, so I'm paid up until 2021. So you're not getting these games technically for free. You're getting them as part as the gold service. Now, the thing is this: most of the games, at least in the last few months, have been anemic to say the least. January's, depending on, if you don't have any of these games and you like them, then obviously the service is good for you. But I have to bring up Sony. I'm sorry. I know this is an Xbox podcast, but when there's someone doing it better, I'm going to talk about it. And I don't care if I get any hate for it. I like speaking truths. What Sony has given away in 2018, I thought was more superior, not by much, but definitely better. I think that in 2019, Microsoft is going to have to do better. And I don't know how they're going to do better, but they're going to have to figure it out, simply because the games that they're giving are just not cutting the mustard. A lot of the games, like for instance, Mercenaries. Okay, great. OG Xbox. I still play some of those games. Ninja Gaiden could be considered a new game. If you looked at it on a 4K set, it would look amazing. Mercenaries, not so much. It actually looks horrendous. Touting that as one of your free games, even though I appreciate that we can play 3 generations of games, shouldn't be leading the charge. Drew, I want to get your take on this. Am I being too harsh on Xbox Live Gold, when it comes to their titles, or am I speaking, some sort of truth?
To be honest, Boom, you're not right or wrong, because you're more than entitled to feel that way. Is you're paying for a service when you consider Xbox Live, the gold membership, which we've all been. I've had it for like 10 years now or something. And it's just some people have certain expectations. Like for me, when it comes to games with gold, I on a personal level think it's just a nice perk. Some months are great, some months are absolutely dreadful, which is to be expected. I mean, for me, I think if it was banger after banger after banger, month after month after month, they'd soon run out of games to give you. And then inevitably you'd be at a point where all you were getting was shit games. So I think they got to spread it out fairly. They probably know, like, they going into 2019 now. They probably already know what games they're going to be giving away. January going through to December next year. They've probably already got a list, and they got X amount of AAAs, X amount of indies, X amount of this, that, and the other, and they just got to spread it out nice and evenly. So like, you get like, at least 6 to 7 months of the year, you're going to get some good games. So for me, in answer to your question, you are more than entitled. If you feel slighted by their offerings in recent months, then you are well within your rights to say, Xbox, you need to pick at your fucking socks up, son. But but for me, I suppose I don't care as much. But that's not to say you care too much. It's just I'll just look when it comes to it. I'll peek on Twitter and be like, and I'll have a look. And if there's a game on there I fancy, I'll download it. And if not, I'll be like, oh well, I'll just go on fucking State of Decay 2 instead.
Well, I mean, listen, again, it's an opinion. It may not be a favorable one. I see a couple of people in the chat. I won't call them out because, obviously I'm not into that. If you have your opinion, I hear you. I hear you. But I have mine, and this is something I believe they can do better. If you don't think so, you know what? Good on you. But it's certainly, in my opinion, as a paying customer, to think that I want better. I want, and that's the end of that. But,
and just to be clear, Boom, like you are honestly, I'm not just saying it because you're my friend. You are, as a gamer, a consumer, you are well and within your rights to feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, I don't really think that's a right or wrong answer. I mean, everyone's opinion is important to me. Of course, that goes for you and everybody in the chat. I mean, again, if you don't agree with me, I understand. But I'm certainly not going to change my opinion to appease anyone. Again, it's not all unicorns and rainbows at Microsoft. There are there's a tremendous amount of room for improvement. We are going to get it. But if I had to say, out of the services, the one I think they need to kind of tweak, if you will, it would be that. But I want to talk about this. The Azure servers that will be used for big games like Crackdown 3 are going to become the standard on the current Xbox platform. Having a steady and very powerful infrastructure is a huge advantage for Microsoft, and they certainly have that over Sony and Nintendo. There's no doubt about it. But let's talk about Play Anywhere. Now, it might not be something that everyone uses, but buying a game once and being able to play it seamlessly on your PC and Xbox with cross progression is a big feature that's only available through Microsoft, and I think that's a big deal. I think this will become more important when the X-Cloud releases next year and gives the players the ability to basically play on everything. I mean, again, that's just my opinion on it. What are your takeaways on that? Play Anywhere. Again, it's a good talking point, I think. I don't think it's for everyone. I personally don't use it because I run this show off of a Surface 4 Pro. So I don't have a powerful laptop that I'm going to play Assassin's Creed. But what are your takeaways on the fact that we can play on PC if you want to, Drew?
Mate, I have been an advocate of Play Anywhere since it first sort of was talked about ever. The ability to buy a game once and the the option, the fact that it's there to use it on your Xbox or PC is a fantastic option to have. Even like myself, if you're not, if you're an individual that doesn't use this feature, the fact that the option is there is fantastic. But no, I do think though, Boom, and you did say it as well, but I do think Play Anywhere will be on the minds of a lot of people when the xCloud is in full effect. the ability to buy your games once, then play on your Xbox, PC, tablet, phone, or the next gen streaming box that is part of the Scarlet family. The fact that you'll have the option to bounce from any device, having bought a game once, is pretty amazing. I mean, Xbox is literally the home of options. I'm pretty sure that's where they go. That's their motive now for here moving forward, is just to give people options. And this is just one of them. Like, once you've bought your game, you, like in your case, Boom, you could be playing it on your Xbox, and then theoretically, if any of our guesses and what we've read between the lines is correct, if you're like commuting to see family members in another state or something, you could take your Surface Pro tablet and be playing Halo 5 Guardians on the move through the X-Cloud, with Play Anywhere. That same game, you haven't bought it again, it's just on your account, and you're streaming it to your tablet or whatever. Like, guys in the chat, please tell me, am I being a fool for saying that, like, whether people use this or not, it's a great friggin' option? Like,
options, I think I've heard this by numerous podcasters, but 2018 is the year of options, and I think options are good for gamers and consumers.
No, absolutely. Like, how can you not like options? The choice is there to use it or not. Like, it's an option. It's amazing.
Yeah, it certainly is. But you know what? I don't want to spend too much time on this, because I think the next topic, and it's the last part of this particular subject I want to talk about, and it's a big deal. Backwards compatibility was huge in 2018. The Xbox team responsible for these incredible accomplishments, in my opinion, need a raise. The back half of the year saw some of the Xbox 360's best titles become playable on the Xbox One, with enhancements that made them look like new games. And here's a list of the best games that were added to backwards compatibility in 2018. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Red Dead Redemption, Crackdown, Dead Space 1, 2, and 3, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Jet Set Radio, Vanquish, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, Ninja Gaiden Black on the OG Xbox, Panzer Dragon Orta, Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. I mean, listen, all the Final Fantasy 13 series in one swoop. And that's just naming a very small portion. The list right now is staggering at 530 plus titles from the Xbox 360 era that are backwards compatible, and a whopping 33 OG Xbox titles that were now added. Listen, think about this for a second, Drew. 3 generations of games are available to play for free if you own the disc, and usually on sale if you don't. This is what I call fan service, and there's no arguing that. What are your takeaways on what they've done with backwards compatible, for the Xbox One and its fans?
Well, it is a great, again, it's just another option. Like, some people I've heard say that backwards compatibility is that it's not their thing. They like to play new games, and you've got people who play a shit ton of old games and they love every second of it. The fact that it's there for the fans to use if they wish to is amazing. Again, Xbox is the home of options. But I think what's crazy, though, is the fact that this was thought to be impossible at the time.
Yes.
Like, I remember like people theorizing, asking, requesting, like, oh, please, Phil. There was a time where people wanted backwards compatibility, but I don't think very many had their money on it actually happening until that fateful day and that E3, like, where I think it might have been 2015 or 2016, when they announced to the fans, and they just went absolutely buck wild.
I was one of them.
Oh, mate, me too. I mean, I'll be honest, my only complaint is I'm still waiting for them to make the classic Brothers in Arms games backwards compatible.
Oh, those are good.
Oh, mate, I've still got the discs downstairs, Simpsons Hit and Run. I want to be able to play those games again, and I've got the discs ready and waiting. But hey, maybe one day. But the fact that these games, as well, as old as they are, Boom, like you said, going back to the OG, you've got 3 separate generations at your fingertips, and the list is getting bigger and bigger. But no, that is not where it ends, Boom. These games, even OG, are getting 1x enhancements.
Yes, it's crazy. It's just
Like,
crazy.
Original Xbox titles are getting the 4K treatment. Like, the attention to detail can't be overstated, Boomers. Like, they're not only listening to the gamers, they're not only providing options, they're not only doing everything that any one company can do to please the fan base, but to put that extra effort in. I mean, no one asked for the 4K treatment. Like, I think most people would have been just happy to play their old game again on their new system. But the fact that they're going above and beyond and doing the 4K patches as well, like, wow, like, how can you not give them a clap, mate? What a fantastic feature! And again, it might not be everyone's bag, but the option's there.
Well, listen, there's no doubt about it. Now, Welsh, we're closing in on an hour and a half, and I'm not even halfway done. I mean, this has been an incredible episode. I'd like to try and go a little bit past the normal time. Are you okay with that?
Boom, I'm happy to see this till the end, dude. We've got a lot to cover, and it's been a fantastic year. So as long as you're happy to finish, I'm happy to finish.
Well, let's do that then. Okay, well, listen. Post E3 2018 saw an explosion of unforeseen wins for the Microsoft team led by Phil Spencer. It's easy to understand why he was awarded the People of the Year honors from GameIndustry.biz, and though there isn't actually a piece of hardware, this is still a big deal. We have to remember that the Xbox brand post E3 2013, before he was promoted, was in really dire states. There's no doubt about that. But when Phil Spencer was promoted in 2017, he made a bunch of promises. And this is what he had to say. He was going to take care of the hardware issues the platform was having. He ushered in the Xbox One S and, of course, the Xbox One X double check. He made sure the services commitment was done right and that the Xbox customer was at its forefront. Double check. We got Game Pass. We got all the first-party titles going to it day and date. Avatars were revamped and released. The UI is always being updated. And, most importantly, he interacts with all gamers on Twitter on a regular basis. This is something that Sean Layton and Reggie Fils-Aimé do not do. No console war nonsense, just facts here, folks. 2018. That's a year that's going to go down in infamy, in my opinion, for gaming as a whole. Phil Spencer made moves that have never been seen in the gaming world before. He doubled the first-party roster with the purchase of Ninja Theory, Undead Labs, Playground Games, Compulsion Games, Obsidian Games, and In Exile Game Studio, and created the first ever in this generation quadruple A studio run by Daryl Gallagher called The Initiative. Phil Spencer is the leader Microsoft and the Xbox platform needed, and he hasn't disappointed one bit. I'm very proud to be an Xbox fan and extremely hopeful for the future of the Xbox brand. But Drew, I want to get your take on this. Obviously, Phil Spencer is at the center of everything we talked about today, and he is really going out his way, leading the charge, delivering on all his promises, and we still have talk of other studios that could be purchased. It doesn't seem he wants to stop, and I'm glad. What are your takeaways on this?
Oh, mate, the man is an unstoppable force. I mean, since E3 2018 alone, they've doubled their developer count, the first party, that with totaling with, like you said, 6 new first party acquisitions and 1 brand new, one of a kind, the only one of its kind, quadruple A. The man's a genius. The man, I'm blown away by what he's done and where he's going, and I can't wait to break this down bit by bit, Boom, because Xbox and Phil leading the charge is just. I've said it before, man, that they are like a train going at one speed on this one track, and you'd have to literally be the Hulk to stop them. They're taking names next gen, I'm telling you. Hello? Boom?
Sorry about that, brother. I had you on mute for a second.
Oh, man.
No. The show continues, folks. No fire here. Listen, what you said was incredible. and it's 100% right. I'm going to say this. As a fan of the Xbox brand, sure, there's been a lot of downtimes where, we questioned leadership, right? And that's to be expected. When you're losing, you start to kind of point the finger at other people. Is it Phil? Is it Aaron Greenberg? Is Mike Ybarra? Somebody at the top. But we know what happened with the finances. We know why they weren't buying studios. We know why they weren't making games. That they were coming up short in the first party department. But since Phil Spencer has taken over, all he's done is position the brand to win in the next generation. Sure, they're never going to catch Sony now. The generation's pretty much over. But with all that, with everything that we know about that are supposedly happening in the next generation, if you're not excited, I don't know what would get you more excited. Because I'm through the roof. We're going to start off the year with Crackdown 3, and then we're going to finish the year with Gears 5. I mean, listen, it's going to be a great year. Hardware is coming in 2020. We know that there's multiple SKUs, but you know what? Let's move on to the next topic and talk about what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, and that needs, obviously some things that need addressing. First up, platform services are running at super speed and doesn't need any fixing. Games as a service, the ideology is something I can truly get behind. Extending the life of their first-party titles to allow grander stories to be told and expanding the lore, story, and characters in the game is something that I think all developers should have, should be able, to happen for their games, right? You don't want to just put a game out there. It's a one and done and you keep it moving. As great as those games are, and I love them, I really do. If you really enjoy the lore of a particular game, you kind of want it to live on, if you will, even if it's not the main character. Again, for instance, you take a game like God of War. Now, God of War is a masterpiece. It would have been my game of the year 2018 if it wasn't for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which took the #1 spot. But a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey continues to grow. The world is big. DLC opens up the world, and you get to see more and more and more. As great as God of War is, you beat it, you run through it like I did, and then you run through it again to kind of catch up what you missed on on like the side quests. And after that, there's really not much to do. So this is why the games as a service ideology is something I'm absolutely through the roof about. What are your takeaways on the platform services as a whole, real quick?
What, like games as a service?
Yeah, yes, and what they've done for the platform in this generation and in 2018.
Games as a service is a great way to add more bang for your buck. Bottom line, buying games without understanding that game you're playing could completely change a year later in terms of size and content. It's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling. Games like Halo 5 and Gears 4 are prime examples. I always use this example. But they are still supported to this day, and I think it's awesome, especially when you think about it as well. The fact that for the most part it's free. You're never actually charged for the extra maps or the extra skins or the extra anything. Like I haven't been charged a penny for all the free stuff I've gotten for Halo 5 and Gears 4. It's amazing. The games as a service thing, I'm with you, Boom. I can get right behind that. It can apply to just about any game. Like when you consider Halo Infinite, that game could live on for like a good decade.
10 years.
Yeah, it could live on for like 10 years. Like it's got the new slip space engine, so they don't need to worry about that side of things. Like it's just keep shoveling content their way. Like if you've got the game, bring on the add-ons. Like bring on the new missions, the new maps, the new sections of the game. Like it's just fab. It's fantastic. Games as a service is great.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But you know what? The next thing I want to talk about is addressing the first-party issues and letting the Xbox fans know that they're listening, not making excuses for the shortcomings of the exclusives for the platform and promising to do better. And obviously, this is something they've addressed literally up in your face. Hello, we're listening. When Phil Spencer walked out on stage, E3 2018, we heard. Right, everyone heard that's in the business, slight rumors, but there, when you walk up on that stage and you announce that you just bought 4 studios, and you just made a quadruple A. No one expected that. That is a big deal. They are addressing the first party issues with all of the studios that they have acquired and what they currently have in their wheelhouse. You would imagine that first party games will be coming out on a more regular basis, and they're going to be all types. You're going to get racers, you're going to get RPGs, you're going to get over the shoulder third person games, you're going to get first person masterpieces. And I think that with everything that we know about, it's really a bright future. What are your takeaways on them, how they address the first party issue that most gamers had a complaint with?
Addressing the first party boom was huge for Xbox. It was one of the main criticisms for the one after the Xbox One X released. Now that the power narrative was put to bed, it automatically turns people's attention to its game offerings. You heard it. What good is all that power without games and shit like that? And while 2018 has had some great titles, there is never such thing as too many. Exactly. And Xbox is, let's be honest, Boom, Xbox made history with their mic drop acquisition announcement, literally doubling their first party development house in one sentence, basically. That announcement at E3, which is is now setting the stage for more new games to be hitting Xbox in coming years. And they did it like a boss. I mean, I can't put it any simpler. Like people were complaining, hating, screaming to the high heavens, like, and this is fanboys as well, like, oh, Xbox got no games. And what have I said before, Boom? Be careful what you tweet, because the Welsh gamer can read it, but you know who else can read it? Phil Spencer.
Yes.
And and he fucking read that tweet, I tell you, and he made something happen with that information. So, mate, they did a good job. They addressed the first party and they didn't pull any punches doing it.
Yes, absolutely. But real quick, I have to say once again, thank you. And a shout out to Face23 BKNY with an additional $5 super chat. And he says, Microsoft has great features and services like Game Pass and Play Anywhere. Microsoft needs to improve in the marketing and messaging and exclusives. And yes, we are now about to talk about that. Understanding that appealing to the casual market is the way to gain control of the next generation before it starts. That's fact. Something that Sony did very well was make the casual gamer know that the PS4 was more powerful at the time, making it less expensive than the Xbox, and having the stronger first-party games, pushing that the only on PS4 commercials were worth its weight in gold, and swaying the opinions of the media as well as the gaming populace. Microsoft is already ahead of the curve, with rumors from many of the Xbox insiders like Brad Sams and Clobriel touting that at least 3 SKUs that include ProjectX-Cloud, Anaconda, and I believe it's not Maverick. I forgot what the third one is, but you know what? The fact that they're going to have 3 different SKUs says this to me as a gamer. They're going to appeal not just to the hardcore fan base who ran out to buy an X the day one. They're going to appeal to literally everyone that is a gamer. ProjectX-Cloud is going to be that $100 to $150 deck of cards size thing that goes underneath your TV, and you're going to be gaming, right? That is going to appeal to the casuals, because some people don't want to spend $500 if they're not a fan of Xbox. But if you put a price of $100 to $150, now we're talking. The middle of the road system that's going to be like the S2 is probably going to be anywhere between $300 and $400. Okay, it's not going to be the Pro Edition like the Anaconda, but it's going to be that middle of the road that if people want to kind of that want the hardware but don't want to spend the $500, they'll jump to that. And of course, the Anaconda, which is supposed to be the premium of all 3 systems, that one is probably going to be $500. It could be more depending what's in the box. And again, I'm going to buy the biggest edition. I know Drew is going to buy the biggest, most powerful edition. And I know that most people in the chat are probably going to be buying the Anaconda because it's going to be the most powerful console. And what we've heard so far is that it's supposed to be even more powerful than the PS5. So I don't know, but what are your takeaways on the fact that having 3 SKUs basically appeals to everyone?
Well, I think when you say everyone, one thing we have to take into account is obviously specifically the casual market itself.
Yes, it's a big part of it.
Mate, honestly, the casual market is key to winning a console generation. I mean,
Yes.
PS4 proved this generation. And Xbox, I think, Phil and team, they have definitely taken notes. Having the 3 SKU Scarlet family of devices for the next generation at a $150 budget entry streaming box price, and then you've got your 1S2 mid-tier. We've said before, boom, that's probably going to be 350, 400. And then you've got the 1X premium option, which is the Anaconda, probably going to be ranging around 500 to 600, for the hardcore. And it's showing us that Xbox plans to cater for all types of gamer. But most importantly, boom, having the casual market in mind with all of this is very important to an overall, having overall success in the gaming division. 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I like I said, the thing that Sony did right in this generation was price and power. Yes, the Xbox One is the more powerful console now, but it wasn't at the beginning. And even though it was 180p's, you understand, it was only a difference of 180p's compared to one to the other. They just marketed it in a way where even at the minute amount of power, it was the more powerful console, and it was the cheaper, more powerful console, and that sold a lot of people. And I think Microsoft is really onto something here. And to be honest, I think they might have caught Sony with their pants down. Because no, and I know it's funny, but I think that's what in fact has happened, because
Yeah.
Sony is they're traditionalists, if you will. They have their first party strong titles. They have their one hardware. You're going to get a PS5, and that's what you're going to get. It's going to be great. I'm sure it's going to be very powerful. I'm sure it's going to be, it's going to turn heads. There's no doubt about it. But then when you look at what Microsoft is doing with the 3-prong attack, where it's not just the one ultra powerful console, they have that in spades. Then they have the one that's going to be the streaming box. Now, if the cloud services that they're going to be running on the Azure servers are what I think they're going to be, you're not even going to be able to tell the difference. Sure, it's you're not going to get 4K 60 on a streaming box, but you're gonna get games that look just as good running on that $100 to $150 piece of hardware. And of course, Lockhart, which someone in the chat mentioned, thank you so much for that, is the middle of the road one. They could come in $100 cheaper than the PS5, and it's supposed to be slightly more powerful than the Xbox One X, which I think is an amazing piece of hardware, which is sitting right to my right. So I think they have everything covered.
Can I just say this, Boom, though? Everything
Sure.
you're saying, you are making phenomenal sense, but not to segue. I know we're going into breaking down the marketing deal side of things, but everything you just said about the streaming boxes, your servers, xCloud, the 1S2 or Lockhart, should I say, and Anaconda, none of that's going to matter if Xbox don't clamp down on these marketing deals.
Yep, and we're going to go right into that, and that's a great segue, dude. Speaking of third-party marketing deals, and advertising, in my opinion, has been an epic fail for Microsoft in this generation. It's the weakest part of the Microsoft wheelhouse. Like we've all said on prior shows, E3 2019 can be the biggest moment in Xbox history if they take advantage of the potential Sony blunder when, being that they pulled out of E3 2019. This could be big for the brand before the next generation even starts. I don't think it could be understated how important it is for Microsoft and Phil Spencer to get out ahead of this and really start locking down these deals. I'm sorry, okay? If you look at what both teams did, not taking anything away from Battlefield 5, not taking anything away from Fallout 76, they both launched with controversy. Right? If you look at what Sony was able to do, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 sold like gangbusters. And I've actually had people tell me, isn't that only on the PlayStation 4? That's how well their marketing was, right? And then, of course, Red Dead Redemption 2, the powerhouse, the behemoth that it is, even though it doesn't look as good than the Xbox One X, I've had people who are the casuals that we're talking about ask me, Oh, was Red Dead Redemption on the Xbox? Listen, if they're asking that, then someone at Microsoft is doing something wrong. And again, everyone is entitled to their opinion. If you don't agree with me, I hear you. But I think this is me. This is my show, right? So I'm going to say what I want to say. And you know what? If you don't like it, again, I hear you. But this is the weakest part of Microsoft has been the advertising and getting these third-party deals. I understand it's a lot of money, but at the same time, if you want to move your console, you got to get those little extras. You got to get the DLC 30 days before. You got to get the exclusive hat and boot set that you can't get anywhere else. I'm sorry. These things sell games. They sell consoles. But Drew, I want to get your take on this. Am I wrong by saying that this was an epic fail for Microsoft in this generation when it comes to marketing?
Oh, mate, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. I like Aaron Greenberg, and he is the face of the marketing squad. And it isn't just him, I know. But I gotta be honest, like a few times I've scratched my head, especially when games like Sea of Thieves and State of Decay were close to coming out. And I honestly could count on one hand how many times I saw a commercial for for those two games combined, like accumulated. Shocking, absolutely shocking. And I mean, I'm not having a go at Aaron Greenberg himself, like just him alone. Like he's part of a larger scheme, but it has been dreadful. And to say that Sony hasn't, let's be honest, blown the doors off when it comes to sales and units and appealing to the casual market, it all comes down to this. And that's why, you know, it was an accidental segue, but that's why I was saying, like, everything we were saying in the last point when we were talking about the casual market means absolutely naught without good marketing. And Xbox, bottom line, Boom, needs marketing deals. It can't get any more simple than that, Boom. We literally just talked about appealing to the casual market, and this is probably one of the most crucial things to have in place, as casuals are literally like goldfish. As long as you keep giving them food, they will always keep eating.
Yes, that
So
is true.
honestly, so in Xbox's case, if you have commercials left and right for just about every third-party title, every time you watch a YouTube video, when you go to the movies, if you're on Twitter or Facebook, social media, if all people see is their favorite games, either first or third party, it doesn't matter. If all people are seeing is their favorite games with the Xbox logo next to them, the casual market are going to gravitate towards Xbox. It's a simple science, Boom, and it has worked for Sony massively this generation with a lot of people. And I've got it on my notes. You said it already, Boom. But this is how much of an impact that strategy of marketing has done. It has left people in the winds. It has actually had people, a lot of people, I've been asked this as well, Boom, not just yourself. It's had people mistaking games like Call of Duty as exclusive to the PlayStation platform because of how heavy this advertising is. To say it's genius is an understatement, Boom, and Xbox better be taking notes if they want to be taken seriously next gen, especially going into this gen with 3 SKUs, trying to appeal to the casual market. You've got to put the marketing out there. And I've seen a few people in the chat saying, won't it cost a lot of money? You know, but I don't mean to be one of these people who are like, yeah, but Xbox are rich, yay, and I'm like bloody sucking face and stroking their ego. But bottom line, the checkbook is open. They've all but said that.
Yes, they did.
The acquisitions alone and the founding of the initiative is proof enough that their money is where their mouth is. The next Xbox is the 3 SKUs. The Anaconda is quite literally going to melt people's faces off. They have money. Set aside some of that money for marketing because it's arguably one of the most important parts of this whole strategy when going into a new generation. Bottom line, case in point, I'm done.
Well, dude, that's the way you close it out. And I want to finish off this topic before we talk about 2019 and say this. Phil Spencer and Microsoft need to go for the jugular. Okay? They need to sign every third-party marketing deal they can, leaving nothing for Sony to start the next generation, and have a take no prisoners mentality will be the direction that no one saw coming. Being aggressive is exactly what won Sony this gen, and I think Microsoft could win the next if they're as vicious. End of story. But you know what? Let's talk about 2019 and beyond, shall we? It appears that Microsoft has learned a thing or two from the major loss they took this generation, having certain people within the company gone and the direction changed. The future looks extremely bright. Looking into 2019, the year is going to start off strong with Crackdown 3. And of course, we're getting Ori and the Will of the Wisps. We're getting a new Battletoads. And of course, rounding out 2019 is going to be Gears 5, which is going to, like you said, melt your eyeballs off. There has been a few behind-scene talks that a few unannounced surprises will be making their way to the Xbox platform as exclusives in 2019. Of course, I'm extremely excited to see what happens. Now, with Anaconda, Lockhart, and ProjectX-Cloud leading the charge in the next gen, it seems as if choice will be at the forefront of Microsoft's plan. And I always say choice is a good thing for the customer. What are your hopes for Xbox and its fans in 2019, Drew?
Right, Mr. BoomStickXL. A very loaded question, but I think when you gave it to me, I've answered it as simple as any one gamer could possibly want it to be answered. And this goes for the casuals all the way to the hardcore. This is how I feel personally when you gave me this question. All right, Boom?
Yes.
It's a very short and sweet answer, but I feel it's very fitting. And it is this. Keep doing what you are doing, Xbox.
Nice.
Just keep doing what you are doing. Now, let me just explain why I say this. 2013's Xbox disaster, we'll call it, was probably the best thing to ever happen to Xbox, as it has brought Phil Spencer to the forefront, and things have only gotten better and better in just about every area you can think of, Boom. And just to put it in a nutshell, pretty much every area we've covered this show alone. Like everything, services, you've got like literally everything we have dissected to break down 2018 is testament to what I am talking about right now. And 2019 is going to be a very strong year. I can already smell Gears of War 5. I can't wait for that. But beyond that, Boom, it's very exciting as Xbox is on the up. And everything Phil has put in place since he became the boss is nearly in full effect. And when all those things are mainstream, Boom, beyond 2019 is going to be absolutely huge. It's a fun time to be an Xbox fan, and haters can hate, but it's doing everything right. And in my personal opinion, Boom, and I say it proudly, Xbox has been doing everything right for some years now. And all signs point to it getting better as more time progresses. Next generation is going to be absolutely insane when you consider how much behind the scenes stuff is being worked on that hasn't been announced. Fable. From games to hardware, the services, and much more. I'll end on this point, Boom, as I began. Like I said, just keep doing what you're doing, Xbox.
Well, listen, those are great. That's a strong way to end it. And that's going to be, that's pretty much it. But I kind of want to throw one little more monkey wrench into this. Drew, I had sent you through a DM. I asked you to give me your 3 top things you want to see happen in 2019. And I want to go first because normally as the host, I don't answer these questions. So I have 3 written down that I hope are going to come in, come to fruition, if you will, in 2019 for the Xbox platform. First and foremost, I want to see Killer Instinct 2 proper. Killer Instinct is one of my favorite franchises. It's one of my favorite fighting games of all time. They have done phenomenal with the updates on that particular game, but the game is a little long in the tooth. It was a launch title. The game is now 5 years old. I think it's time to show the fan base that a proper KI2 is inbound. I think that it has been in the works for a while from some of the sources that I've spoken to, but I have no confirmation on that. Secondly, like I said, when we were talking about services, as fantastic as EA Access is, I really want to see them bring EA Origin Access to the Xbox platform, simply because, like Mooch always says, Xbox is PC, PC is Xbox. I think that's a service that a lot of people would jump on, especially, like I said, for the amount of money you're paying, $100 for the year. You're getting every EA game in that vault day and date. I think that's a big deal. I hope that comes. And you know what? I'm going to say it because you said it. I got to see something on Fable. I need some sort of confirmation in 2019 that this game is coming. I mean, it's probably the worst kept secret in Xbox, but some sort of a trailer or a flash a screen, just do something to get me excited that a Fable is coming. Because again, it's great to speculate, but it would be much better to know. Drew, I'm going to turn it over to you. What are your top 3 things you want to happen in 2019 for the Xbox platform?
Fable, Fable, and Fable.
Great. There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
No, mate, honestly, 29 and beyond, 2019 and beyond, Xbox, the future. Oh man, that is probably the hardest question you could have given me all night, Boom. But I'm going to try my best. Fable is definitely up there. I'm with you on that one. But in terms of Xbox and like its hardware and stuff like that, just answering a couple of people in the chat. Someone said a moment ago, like, oh, Xbox is not dominating anyone. They're not, I want them to try and keep up with Sony, not dominate them. So in answer to that, one of my things I want is for Xbox not to be fazed by what other platforms are doing. I'm not sitting here saying I want Xbox to dominate anyone. My number 2, I got Fable as number 1. Number 2, in answer to what that person was saying, I just want Xbox to keep doing what it's doing. That was the first thing I said when you asked that question originally, Boom. I want them to just keep doing what they're doing, stay in their lane, because everything they're doing is amazing.
Yes.
And it can only get better. And that's one of the things I just need to make clear. That I just want them to keep doing what they're doing. I can't wait for Anaconda. I have no doubt it's going to be amazing. The Xbox One X truly makes my expectations really high for that one. So number 1, I got Fable. Number 2, I just want Xbox to stay in its lane and not get phased. Don't worry about winning or losing. Just keep doing what you're doing, and the gamers will thank you for it. And number 3, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Frankly, I just want more and more people, gamers, far and wide, to just appreciate what Xbox has done. Don't let the media bias and the haters and the ponies and whoever else let you decide for you on what Xbox is as a company. Because I'm just telling you, like, as a gamer to gamer, that Xbox is a phenomenal ecosystem to be a part of.
Yes.
It's a great platform. And if they haven't proved themselves already, I mean, 29 and beyond is going to be very impressive. So I'm not saying go out and buy an Xbox. I'm not preaching to you, do what you want with your money. All I'm saying is keep an ear out, keep an eye open, and pay attention, because I imagine you'll want to be part of it when it comes to the forefront next generation. So those are my 3 things. Fable, keep doing what you're doing, Xbox, stay in your lane, and I want the fan base to just be open-minded. All the people that have been throwing shade this whole generation, just stop for 1 second and just appreciate what Xbox is going to give you and is giving you, and you might change your perspective. So that's the 3 things I want from Xbox and the fans going into 2019 and beyond, going into like the next generation.
Strong choices. Great way to finish the show. First of all, we're closing in on 2 hours. It is officially not only the longest Xbox Factor podcast that we've ever done. It was we had 130 people watching, which was a big deal. I know there's still 107 people in the chat. Please, before you get out of here, hit the like button. It definitely lets me know that both Drew and I are doing what we need to do as Xbox fans to put on a good show each and every week. This is obviously the last show for Double Barrel Gaming in 2018. Tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom basically was going to be the gaming year in review 2018 that included all 3 consoles, has basically just been moved to the 4th of January. Of course, there are a lot of people still on vacation, and trying to get 4 guests was becoming a little bit daunting. So I didn't want it to be a rush episode. So just want to give you the heads up on that. 2019 for both Drew's channel and my channel are going to be big. I know that he's taken a little bit of a break from the Dragon X podcast, but it will be coming back. Drew, listen, You put on a good show. I appreciate you coming out each and every week to partner up with me on this passion project with the Xbox Factor podcast. But, you still have content on your channel. You're still very active on Twitter. Please tell everyone where they could find you.
No, thank you, Mr. Boomstick, and there's no thanks needed, my friend. This is an absolute pleasure to be a part of. I love it every single week. I mean, even when you said earlier about the fire in the apartment building you're in, I mean, obviously, my only concern was that you were all right and your wife was fine, and that's all that bloody matters, obviously. But selfishly, I was hoping that the show could go on,
and
it
did.
Like, oh, I know, and it did. The show goes on. But no, you can find me on YouTube, The Welsh Gamer. I have full intent on producing more independent videos going into the new year, kind of like a New Year's resolution for me. Because I do enjoy making videos. It's just finding the time. Even if I just do one a week, I will be getting back into that. So by all means, throw a sub and hit that bell icon, and I will be back in force pretty damn soon. As for Twitter, at The Welsh Gamer 93, one word. And Mr. Boomstick, another great show. Love the chat. All of you, if you haven't already, please hit the like button, spread the love, show people where they can find us. And, I hope you enjoyed the show. Happy holidays. And as this is the last show of 2018, Happy New Year, and take care of yourselves. Nice and Boom. Back to you.
Thank you so much. And I want to reiterate on what the Welsh was saying. It has been an incredible year for Double Barrel Gaming. Over the holiday, I got an early Christmas present on Christmas Eve where I surpassed 2,000 subs in only 13 months, which is incredible. I would not be in this position if it wasn't for the amazing community that has literally opened their arms and just took me in as one of your own. And I'm really happy to be putting out this content. I'm certainly very honored that there are people that actually want to hear what I have to say. That in itself means a lot. The charity of this community has been nothing short of amazing. The super chat has been very, very humbling, especially over the holidays. So I want to thank everyone for that. The chat, listen, I say this every at the end of every show, and I don't get bored saying it because I've been told numerous times that I have one of the friendliest and most accepting chats in YouTube. And that's a big deal for me because I want everyone to get along, even if we have difference of opinions. I want everyone to treat everyone fairly. For me, it doesn't matter race, creed, color, sex, religion. People are people. We all have a voice. We all have an opinion. It should be heard regardless of whether or not it's the popular opinion or not. I want to wish everyone a very, very safe and happy New Year's. Please drink responsibly. I know that's the police officer in me coming out. Don't drink and drive. Hang out with your friends and your loved ones. And we will see you on the next episode of the Xbox Factor in 2019. Have a fantastic week, everyone. Take care.